Hello and welcome. This is Martin with My IELTS Tutor. I want to thank you for joining me today. Certainly great for to have you. Today we're going to talk about our 10th lesson in IELTS General Writing Task 1, the letter. Now, the last lesson, lesson 9, we talked about how to write your introduction and opening statement. Today I want to talk about the body paragraphs. So pay attention and let's begin. Now, the body of your letter consists of the body paragraphs. And the body paragraphs are based on the bullet points that are given to you with the topic of the letter. You are given 3 points, so this means that you should write 3 body paragraphs. And you should have 1 paragraph for each point. So each point is going to have its own body paragraph. Now, if you look here at the example I have, you see the topic and you see the body, you see the bullet points there. You need to include the bullet points and you should have 1 body paragraph for each of these bullet points. And I'm going to use this example throughout the lesson. So let's continue. Now, before we continue, we need to talk about some important considerations for writing the body paragraphs. Now, for each point, you must come up with supporting details. Now, you may draw on these from your own experience or from your imagination. And that's okay as long as they're reasonable and logical. And the details must be relevant to the point. They must be related to the point. Now, you don't need to be overly descriptive. So this means you don't need to use every single detail that you can think of, because first of all, you only have 20 minutes to write this letter. That's not enough time to use every single detail. And then you just need enough to give a clear picture of what you're talking about. Okay, you just need a clear picture of what you're talking about. Now, let's move on. Now, again, this is our topic that we're going to use. And we're going to write our body paragraphs based on. So you saw an advertisement in the paper for a property management position at an apartment complex. You want to write your letter to express your interest. And so you have your 3 bullet points, why you are writing, your suitability for the role, and how you would approach the position. And forgive me, there's a hawker outside. He'll be passing quickly. He just passed. So sorry about that. Now let's continue. Again, you have your 3 bullet points here, and this is what you want to base your body paragraphs on. And you remember, you're going to have a body paragraph for each bullet point. Now, let's look at the first body paragraph. You have the point, why are you writing? And we have here, and you can see this is just 1 sentence. Now, for most points, you're going to write at least 2 sentences, but sometimes in this case, all you need is 1 sentence, and that's okay. You probably won't need any more than 5 sentences for a point. That's anything more is probably too much. So, but I would say general rule, 2 sentences per point minimum, 5 sentences maximum, okay? And it really depends on the point. So for this particular one, why you're writing, you only need 1 sentence. And that's what we have here. So it starts off with the person introducing himself and saying where he saw the advertisement, and then it goes straight to the point. Would like this opportunity to apply for the position. So that's why he is writing. Now, the other points are there. They give context. They help explain the situation better. They make the situation clearer. And you need to include those type of details to give a good image. You're not just going to say, I would like to apply for your position. You want to give some more details to help clarify things and make things more understandable, okay? So that's what you want to do. Now, let's talk about the second body paragraph. Now, this one is 5 sentences long. It's good enough length. It has a lot of details in it. And so the second body paragraph is about your suitability for the role. So, what this person is doing is talking about his past experience in the field of property management. So, he mentions how many years he's been in. So, the main details are underlined, as you can see. So, he lists out how many years he's been involved. He talks about his most recent position and then how long, and he gives a name of the company he worked for and the apartment complex, as well as the city. Those are all supporting details that help make it more understandable and make the paragraph stronger. Then he talks about how long he's been there, and then he does give a reason why he's come back to the city. Because since he does mention that his previous job was in another city, so he's back now. It's not really that important, but it kind of gives some context to why he's applying for this job. He's no longer in that one city; he's applying for in this city. So um, it's not an important detail to the point, but it helps add context. And don't be afraid to use details in that way to help provide some context. Then he talks about his experience in that position, his most recent position. He says he had multiple roles. And then in the italic points, um, where it says managing the complex office, and there's really a list of those things. He basically lists out specifically what he's done. And for something like this, you should do, okay? You should list several specific things. It makes the point much clearer, more understandable. And so, and then the final sentence, where this is basically, it's not really a detail, but it's more of a concluding sentence that basically summarizes everything that's um, in the paragraph. And it's okay, and it's really a smart move to use something like this. It depends on the paragraph. You might need more of a transition sentence that transitions to the next paragraph. But something like this, a concluding sentence for the body paragraph, makes sense. And don't be afraid to use those type of sentences. Now, the third body paragraph here, how would you approach the position? Okay, we have a really short paragraph here, and it starts off by the writer saying, in terms of my management style. And that's a good paraphrase for approach. Remember, you need to paraphrase as much as you can. You shouldn't use the same words from the topic or bullet points. So, my management style, it's a great paraphrase in terms of approach. Uh, then in the next sentence, which is in italics, he specifically states what his approach style is and then explains it. And you do need to elaborate. You need to elaborate in details. And so that's what you need to do. Um, and finally, the last sentence rather, is again a concluding sentence. It basically wraps up and explains why his approach and how effective it has been. And so that's it. That's it on the body paragraph. So let's go back and review what we've learned. Now, the body paragraphs, they're based on the bullet points, and you're given 3 bullet points. And so that means 3 body paragraphs, 1 body paragraph per point. And then your considerations, for each point, you need to come up with supporting details. And don't forget to include details that help provide context to the situation. They help make the situation in the letter more understandable, and they help make um, the letter stronger and more interesting as well. And don't forget to use concluding sentences. Also, those are really important too. They can really help make your letter stronger. When you come up with the supporting details, you can draw from your own experience or from your imagination, as long as they're reasonable and logical. And then the details must be relevant to the point. You don't need to use every single detail. So you don't need to be overly descriptive, just enough to get a very clear picture of what you're trying to say. And then it's just enough to support the point. Like I said, a clear picture. So, and that's it for today. I want to thank you for joining me. Certainly nice to have you. Join me for our next lesson, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.